Hello, my friends, and welcome to our ELA lesson today. Today, we are going to make predictions. We will identify details. We're going to make some connections and also some inferences. Before I begin to read the story to you, I'd like you first to make a prediction about what you think the story will be about. The title is called Joseph and the Topcoat, and you can see the picture at the bottom. So go ahead and pause the video and make a prediction about what you think the story will be about. Okay, so I'm sure you made a wonderful prediction. Now let's move on to listening to the story. But I just want to tell you before I begin that there will be a lot of conversation and discussion in this lesson. So you should be pausing the video a lot and taking some time to have some good discussions and conversations. All right, so let's begin. Joseph and the Topcoat. Early one morning, Joseph saw the first snowflakes falling from the sky. It looks like winter is coming, said Joseph. I need a topcoat to keep me warm. Joseph opened up the big trunk in his bedroom. He found a warm and woolly topcoat inside. Then he put it on. Oh, this will keep me nice and warm during the cold, cold days of winter, Joseph thought. Joseph wore the topcoat every cold winter day, but the topcoat got old and torn. One morning, Joseph looked out at the sky and saw the sun peeking from behind the clouds. It looks like spring is coming, said Joseph. He decided to make a jacket out of the old topcoat. A jacket is the perfect thing for those cool spring days, he thought. Joseph wore the jacket every cool spring day, but the jacket got old and torn. One morning, Joseph looked at the warm sun shining in the sky. Looks like summer is coming, said Joseph. He decided to make a vest out of the jacket. A vest is the perfect thing for those warm summer days, he thought. Joseph wore the vest every warm summer day, but the vest got old and torn. One morning, Joseph looked out at the gray clouds forming in the sky. It looks like fall is coming, said Joseph. He decided to make a scarf out of the vest. A scarf is the perfect thing for those misty fall days, he thought. Joseph wore the scarf every misty fall day, but the scarf got old and torn. Joseph looked at the old and torn scarf. He decided to make a tie out of it. A tie is the perfect thing for any kind of weather, he thought. Joseph made the Joseph made the tie, and he wore it on one cold winter day, one cool spring day, on one warm summer day, and on one misty fall day of each year. That is why it isn't old or torn yet. Joseph is still wearing it today. Okay, so now we're going to go back. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about some details that you remember from the story. So, what does Joseph need at the beginning of the story and why? So, if you think back to the very beginning of the story, what does Joseph need and why? So, pause the video and go ahead and have a discussion about that. Okay, so hopefully you remember at the beginning of the story, Joseph needed a top coat to keep himself warm during the cold winter days. Yes. All right. Now let's make some connections from the story. What do you wear when the weather is cold? So, what do you wear when the weather is cold? You could probably answer that question pretty quickly. Did you say something maybe like a warm coat? Maybe you wear a warm sweater? Maybe you wear a hat, gloves, those kinds of things. Do you have a favorite piece of clothing that you wear all the time? Go ahead and pause the video and have a discussion about that. Okay. So maybe you said something like a coat or a sweater or a scarf, maybe something that you love and you wear all the time. Okay, now we're going to move on. We're going to make some inferences. And this is based on the information we have from the story. So, why does Joseph's top coat become old and worn? Does the story explicitly tell us why, or do we have to come to this answer and this conclusion based on what we just read? Why does Joseph's top coat become old and worn? Go ahead and pause the video and take a moment and talk about that. Okay, do you remember in the story when it kept saying that he would wear it every day and it became old and torn or worn? Does the story talk about it getting caught in the door or getting a snag or give any talk about how it got worn and torn? It doesn't. The story doesn't give any details about that. But we assume because Joseph wears his top coat every single day, that it just becomes old and worn. But the story doesn't say exactly how that happens. So that is called an inference. So the story tells us it's old and worn, but we have to assume the reason because the story doesn't explicitly tell us about how. So that's called an inference. All right. Let's move on and talk about what we wear in different seasons. So if you're doing this on your own, I want you to think about what do you wear in the winter, in the spring, and the summer and the fall. So maybe in the winter you wear a coat or boots. In the spring, maybe you wear a light jacket or a favorite sweatshirt. Maybe in the summer you wear shorts. Maybe in the fall you wear a scarf. So go ahead and pause the video and talk about what things you wear in each season. Okay, let's move on. I would like you to go ahead and write and complete this sentence. It says, Joseph wears a blank. So when we go back, when we think of our story, Joseph started with a top coat and then he changed the top coat into many different kinds of clothing for each season. So he changed it to, let's see if I can remember, to a jacket and a vest, a scarf, a tie. So a lot of different things. So I'm going to let you decide what you want to put in the blank, but go ahead and write the sentence. Joseph wears a, and then you can decide what you want to put into the blank. All right, good work today. We made a prediction at the beginning of this, before I read the story about what you thought it would be about. We identified some details from the story. We remembered some details. We made some personal connections, and then we made some inferences based on the information the story gave us. So great work today, my friends. Well done, and we will work with you again next time. Thank you.